The massive alien warship hung in Earth's orbit like a dark promise, its crystalline surface reflecting sunlight in patterns that seemed designed to intimidate. Supreme Overlord Xylith stood on his command deck, mandibles clicking in amusement as he watched the primitive human broadcasts flooding their communications channels with pleas for peace. Such amusing creatures, he chittered to his second-in-command, War Master Kraz. They still use combustion engines for their ground vehicles. Their most advanced ships barely reach their own moon. The Arxian Empire had conquered 17 civilizations across the galaxy. Each time, the pattern was the same: arrive, demonstrate superior power, and accept their surrender. Humanity would be no different. Their long-range scans had confirmed it: no energy weapons, no quantum drives, just primitive projectile weapons and chemical rockets. My lord, Kraz gestured at the main viewing screen with one of his forearms. The humans request to deliver their response to our ultimatum. Xylith's outer eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture of supreme confidence among his kind. Let them grovel properly before we begin the occupation. The screen flickered to life, showing a single human in what appeared to be a plain military uniform. General Marcus Drake stood straight-backed, his weathered face betraying no emotion. Behind him, the United Earth Defense Council sat in silence. Supreme Overlord Xylith, Drake's voice was calm, almost sympathetic. We've received your demands for Earth's unconditional surrender. You've given us one planetary rotation to submit to Arxian rule or face complete annihilation. Correct, primitive, Xylith interrupted. Your species will serve as labor-class citizens within our empire. This is a generous offer, considering your technological inferiority. Drake's lip twitched slightly. About that. You see, we've been watching your empire expand for the last 50 years. We saw what happened to the Centaurians, the Proxima colonies, and the others. Each time, your pattern was the same: arrive, threaten, conquer. So predictable. Something in Drake's tone made Xylith's inner spine tingle. You dare mock Dash? We've had 50 years to prepare specifically for you, Drake continued. 50 years to develop one weapon. One strike. While you watched our chemical rockets and laughed at our combustion engines, we built something else. Something you never thought to look for because you were so convinced of our primitive nature. Alarms suddenly blared across the Arxian command ship. My lord! Kraz shouted. Energy spike from the planet's surface. Impossible! Xylith roared. Their power signatures show no dash. We call it the Thanatos Protocol, Drake said quietly. A single weapon, designed for a single purpose: to eliminate your entire invasion fleet in one strike. While you watched our rockets, you never noticed the quantum web we wove through the planet's magnetic field. You never detected the dark matter capacitors we built into Earth's moon. You never thought we could be anything but primitive. The energy spike reached critical levels. Across Earth's surface, hidden emitters activated simultaneously. The planet's magnetic field itself became a weapon, transforming into a quantum-entangled death sphere that encompassed the entire Arxian fleet. Shields at maximum. Xylith screamed, but it was too late. Their shields, designed to stop physical weapons and energy beams, were useless against what came next. The quantum web collapsed inward. In an instant, the proud Arxian fleet of over 2,000 ships experienced total atomic dissociation. Their advanced materials, their crystalline technology, their very atomic structure simply came apart. On his command deck, Xylith had just enough time to realize their fatal mistake. They had been so convinced of their superiority, so certain of humanity's primitive nature, that they had never considered the possibility of being outthought rather than outgunned. The entire Arxian invasion fleet vanished in a display of light that briefly outshone the sun. On Earth's surface, General Drake watched through filtered windows as humanity's first and only strike ended the threat of alien invasion in less than 30 seconds. Send word to the Council, Drake said to his staff. Operation First Strike successful. Begin broadcasting on all frequencies in all known alien languages. He paused, looking at the fading light in the sky that marked the end of the greatest empire the galaxy had ever known. The message is simple: Earth is not to be threatened. We will not fire warning shots. We will not accept surrender. Threaten humanity, and you won't survive to regret it. In the coming days, as news spread across the galaxy of how the mighty Arxean Empire had been destroyed in a single strike by a supposedly primitive species, a new era began. Humanity had made its point in the most dramatic way possible: underestimate us at your own peril. The age of alien empires was over. The age of humanity had begun. News of the Arxean fleet's destruction spread through the galaxy like a shockwave. In the Grand Palace of the Arxean homeworld, Empress Ixara watched the holographic replay for the 100th time, the moment when her empire's greatest armada simply ceased to exist. Impossible, High Scientist Vex muttered, his secondary arms twitching with anxiety as he analyzed the data. 2,000 ships, our finest technology, gone in 28 seconds. The Empress's crystalline throne, traditional seat of Arxean power for 10,000 years, seemed to dim in resonance with her mounting dread. The humans hadn't just destroyed their invasion fleet, they had shattered the foundation of Arxean military doctrine. An empire built on technological superiority had just been humbled by a species they'd dismissed as primitive. My Empress, Fleet Commander Isaac bowed low, his carapace reflecting the dim light of the throne room. The Second Fleet stands ready. We can launch a retaliatory strike within dash. No. Ixara's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. You haven't understood. Show them the rest of the human transmission. The holographic display shifted, showing General Drake's face again. The human's expression remained as impassive as before, but now there was something else in his eyes, a cold certainty that made even the battle-hardened fleet commander step back. To the leadership of the Arxean Empire, Drake's recorded message played. The destruction of your invasion fleet was not our only prepared response. While you watched our primitive rockets, we seeded your empire with something else. We call it Operation Thunderclap. The chamber fell silent. High Scientist Vex instruments began chirping urgently. My Empress. Energy signatures, they are everywhere. Quantum signatures matching their weapon that destroyed our fleet, they are embedded in every major military installation across our empire. Our shipyards, our fortress worlds, our defense platforms. For 50 years, Drake continued, while you conquered others, we sent automated probes disguised as space debris. Each carried a miniaturized version of our quantum weapon. They've been sleeping, waiting, building up power. Right now, there are 15,000 such devices throughout your empire. Each one capable of destroying everything within a light minute of its position. Ixara's outer shell paled to a sickly white. 15,000 weapons, each powerful enough to vaporize an entire fleet, scattered throughout her empire. They had been so focused on expanding their territory, so certain of their invulnerability, that they'd never thought to look for weapons disguised as debris. The coordinates for every device have been transmitted to your military command, Drake's message continued. You'll find they are positioned to eliminate 98% of your military capability within 5 minutes. This is not a negotiation. This is not a threat. This is a simple statement of fact: stand down your military forces immediately and permanently, or we will activate every device simultaneously. Fleet Commander Isaac's mandibles clattered in disbelief. They couldn't have, we would have detected. Like we detected their quantum weapon. Vex snapped. Like we saw through their facade of primitive technology. The humans didn't just outthink us once, they've been outthinking us for half a century. The Empress rose from her throne, her crystalline form catching the light in ways that normally inspired awe. Now, it seemed to reflect only defeat. Verify the coordinates, she ordered. Within hours, the reports confirmed humanity's claim. Quantum devices had been found exactly where specified, hidden in asteroid fields, disguised as communications relays, buried in the hearts of defunct satellites. Each one, when scanned, showed power readings that matched the weapon that had destroyed their invasion fleet. The humans are broadcasting again, a communications officer announced. This time, it wasn't Drake on the screen, but a human female. Admiral Jessica Chen of the United Earth Defense Force stood with the same calm confidence as her colleague. We are now receiving surrender signals from 97 Arxean military installations, she stated. To those still considering resistance, you have witnessed our capability and our resolve. The quantum devices will remain in place indefinitely. Any attempt to rebuild military forces beyond planetary defense levels will result in immediate activation. Any attempt to disable or remove the devices will trigger them automatically. Ixara, last empress of the militant Arxian Empire, looked out at her assembled advisors. In a single day, humanity had not just defeated them, they had completely dismantled their ability to make war. Send our response, she commanded, her voice heavy with the weight of history. The Arxian Empire formally stands down all military forces and accepts human terms. As the message was transmitted, Vex approached the throne. My Empress, how did we not see this coming? How did we misread them so completely? Ixara's outer eyes dimmed in resignation. Because we saw what we expected to see. We were so convinced of our superiority that we never considered they might be playing a longer game. While we conquered through force, they conquered through patience and cunning. We thought them primitive because they didn't match our development path. Instead, they developed in ways we never imagined possible. Across the galaxy, other spacefaring races watched in stunned silence as the mighty Arxian Empire crumbled before a species many had dismissed as barely spacefaring. Humanity had not just won a war, they had completely rewritten the rules of galactic power. And they had done it not through overwhelming force, but through careful planning, misdirection, and a single, devastating strike followed by an insurmountable strategic position. The age of empires built on military might was over. The age of human ingenuity had begun. The once mighty halls of the Arxian High Council lay in disarray. Not from physical destruction, humanity's weapons remained silent after their initial demonstration, but from the chaos of a society whose fundamental beliefs had been shattered in a single day. Grand Chancellor Thex watched from his crystalline podium as the representatives of 17 subjugated worlds demanded their immediate independence. The Arxian Empire's client states had watched their conquerors humbled by a supposedly primitive species. Now, they wanted out. The Centaurian Alliance withdraws from the Arxian sphere of influence, announced Ambassador Lyra, her bioluminescent form pulsing with barely contained satisfaction. We have already received confirmation from Earth that they will support our independence. The Proxima Confederation follows suit, another voice called out. Our ships are already returning home. Thexer's mandibles clicked in helpless fury. Just 3 days after humanity's devastating display of power, the empire that had taken 10,000 years to build was unraveling. Reports flooded in from across Arxian space, military governors stepping down, colony worlds declaring independence, trade agreements being torn up. In her private chambers, Empress Ixara received an urgent communication from Earth. The human on the screen wasn't General Drake or Admiral Chen, but a distinguished-looking diplomat named Dr. Thomas Wei, Director of Galactic Relations. Empress, Wei's tone was perfectly courteous, yet carried an undertone of steel. We notice your internal security forces are attempting to suppress independence movements on several worlds. This violates the terms of your surrender. These are internal matters, Ixara protested, though her voice lacked conviction. Surely your terms didn't extend to Dash. The terms were clear, Wei interrupted smoothly. Complete military stand down. Your internal security forces are classified as military assets. You have 1 hour to order their complete withdrawal, or we will be forced to demonstrate that our quantum devices can target with precision at a planetary level. The threat was delivered so casually that it took Ixara a moment to grasp its full implications. Humanity wasn't just enforcing their victory, they were systematically dismantling every aspect of Arxian military power, down to their ability to police their own worlds. In the Imperial Academy of Science, High Scientist Vex led a team frantically studying the few readings they had managed to gather from humanity's quantum weapon. The results were devastating not just militarily, but culturally. Don't you see, he addressed the gathered scientists, his secondary arms gesturing at the holographic displays. Their technology didn't follow our development path at all. While we focused on mastering crystal matrices and bioorganic computing, they explored quantum mechanics in ways we never considered. We assumed they were primitive because they didn't match our progress markers. One of the younger scientists, Kral, raised his primary appendage. But our long-range scans, their visible technology, was exactly what they wanted us to see. Vex's frustration boiled over. For 50 years, they showed us their combustion engines and chemical rockets, while building a quantum web powerful enough to unravel matter itself. They didn't just outsmart our military, they completely invalidated our entire scientific worldview. The implications rippled through Archean society like a shock wave. Their civilization had been built on absolute certainty in their technological and cultural superiority. Now, that certainty lay in ruins, replaced by the horrifying realization that they had been comprehensively outmaneuvered by a species they had dismissed as barely worth conquering. In the Crystal Gardens, traditionally a place of meditation for the Archean elite, former fleet commander Isaac met secretly with a group of hardline military leaders. Their discussion was heated but quiet. "We cannot accept this humiliation," one officer hissed. "If we coordinate our remaining forces You still don't understand," Isaac interrupted, his outer shell dark with despair. "The humans didn't just defeat our military, they broke our ability to make war. Those quantum devices, they are not just weapons. They are a perfect enforcement mechanism. We can't remove them. We can't shield against them. We can't even detect them until they are activated. Any attempt at military resistance would be suicide." The meeting ended in grim silence. For the first time in their history, the Archeans faced a problem they couldn't solve through force or technological superiority. They had been beaten not just militarily, but philosophically. In the imperial palace, Empress Ixara made her final public address. The crystalline throne, symbol of Archean power for millennia, stood empty behind her. "My people," she began, her voice carrying across the Empire's remaining communications network. "For 10,000 years, we built our civilization on the belief that technological advancement followed a single, predictable path, our path. We judged other species by how closely they matched our own development. This was our fundamental error." She paused, her outer eyes dimming in submission. "Humanity showed us that there are paths to power we never imagined. While we conquered through force, they prepared through cunning. While we displayed our strength, they concealed theirs. While we assumed our way was the only way, they proved that innovation comes in forms we never considered." The speech marked the end of an era. Within weeks, the Archean Empire had effectively ceased to exist as a major galactic power. Their client worlds gained independence, their military disbanded, their scientific institutions underwent radical reorganization. And through it all, humanity's quantum devices remained silent, perfect sentinels ensuring that the lesson of overconfidence would never be forgotten. The species that had been dismissed as primitive had engineered the most complete victory in galactic history, all without firing a second shot. The glass palace of Archean superiority hadn't just cracked, it had shattered completely, its fragments serving as a warning to any other civilization that might mistake patience for weakness, or technological differences for inferiority. 1 year after humanity's devastating first strike against the Archean Empire, the Great Hall of Earth in Geneva hosted the first Galactic Concordat. Representatives from over 300 spacefaring civilizations gathered beneath its quantum crystal dome, a deliberate display of how humanity had mastered and transcended the very technologies others had thought beyond them. Director Elizabeth Morgan, newly appointed head of the Terran Diplomatic Corps, stood at the central podium. Her presence commanded attention not through size or biological impressiveness, but through the quiet confidence that had become humanity's hallmark. For too long, she addressed the assembled delegates, the galaxy operated on the assumption that technological progress followed a single path. Species were judged advanced or primitive based on whether they developed crystal computing, or mastered plasma drives, or achieved bioorganic integration. In the audience, the Archean representative, former high scientist Vex, shifted uncomfortably. His once proud species now served as the galaxy's cautionary tale. Humanity chose a different path, Morgan continued. While you watched our rocket ships and satellites, we wove a quantum web through the fabric of spacetime itself. While you measured our progress by your standards, we rebuilt the laws of physics to serve our needs. Your greatest mistake wasn't underestimating our technology, it was assuming we thought like you. From his private observation chamber, General Drake watched the proceedings with Dr. Wei and Admiral Chen. Holographic displays showed the status of the quantum network, now publicly acknowledged as the foundation of humanity's power. The Drakari delegation seems nervous, Wei noted, gesturing to a group of tentacled figures in the corner of the hall. They should be, Chen replied. Their deep space probes just found another layer of our quantum network. Of course, that's exactly what we wanted them to find. Drake smiled slightly. Amazing how much effort we put into creating discoverable secrets. Layers within layers, each revelation carefully calculated to reinforce the message, don't test humanity's preparations. In orbit above Earth, the new Galactic Observation Center served as a stark reminder of the changed order. Alien ships visited not as conquerors or equals, but as supplicants seeking to understand how they had misread humanity so completely. Research Director Arya John led a group of alien scientists through the facility. Yes, we still use chemical rockets for some purposes, she explained to their bewildered guests. Just as we still use combustion engines and electronic computers. The mistake was thinking these were signs of primitive technology rather than practical tools for specific purposes. A Centaurian researcher raised an appendage. But your quantum technology, how did you conceal its development for so long? By understanding psychology better than physics, Zhang replied. We knew any advanced species would look for signs of progress that matched their own development. So we gave them exactly what they expected to see. The greatest camouflage was your own preconceptions. In the deep space research facility known as Project Prometheus, humanity's true technological edge continued to grow. Dr. Marcus Patel, lead quantum architect, reviewed the latest test results with his team. The aliens are still trying to understand our first-generation quantum weapons, he noted with amusement. They haven't even begun to guess at what we're developing now. His colleague, Dr. Sarah Williams, brought up a holographic display of their latest project. The quantum network wasn't just a weapon or a defense system, it was infrastructure. While other species fought over territory and resources, we were quietly building the foundation for technologies they haven't imagined yet. The impact of humanity's revelation extended beyond military and political spheres. Across the galaxy, civilizations began questioning their basic assumptions about progress and development. Species previously dismissed as primitive were re-evaluated. The arrogance of technological determinism gave way to a new appreciation for diverse paths of advancement. In the Galactic Assembly, now permanently headquartered on Earth, Professor Chen addressed the Scientific Council. The quantum network you discovered. It's already obsolete. We let you find it because it served its purpose, demonstrating that humanity's preparation went far deeper than anyone suspected. The real question you should be asking is, what else have we developed while you weren't looking? Their message was clear, humanity hadn't just won a military victory, they had fundamentally changed how species interacted with each other. The age of conquest was over, replaced by an era where understanding and innovation mattered more than brute force or obvious technological displays. Back in Geneva, Director Morgan concluded her address to the Galactic Concordat. We're not interested in empire. We have no desire to conquer or rule. Instead, we offer partnership, but partnership based on a new understanding. Humanity will maintain the quantum network, ensuring peace between species. In return, we ask only one thing, judge not by your standards, but by results. As the delegates filed out of the Great Hall, many caught glimpses of Earth's surface through the quantum crystal dome. Cities gleamed alongside vast natural preserves. Old-style combustion vehicles shared roads with gravity-defying transports. It was a world that had mastered the art of using the right tool for the right purpose, unbounded by anyone else's definition of progress. The age of assumption was over. The species that everyone had underestimated now stood as the galaxy's chief architect of peace, not through conquest or dominance, but through patience, preparation, and the ultimate demonstration that appearances mean nothing compared to actual capability. In Earth's deep space monitoring stations, operators watched the quantum network pulse with activity. New nodes appeared according to plans laid down generations ago, expanding humanity's silent guardianship of galactic peace. Their message to the galaxy remained clear: never again mistake patience for weakness, simplicity for primitiveness, or unfamiliarity for inferiority. Humanity hadn't just survived their first contact with alien life, they had rewritten the rules of galactic civilization itself. And they had done it not through overwhelming force, but through the patient execution of plans centuries in the making, proving once and for all that true advancement isn't about following a predetermined path, it's about choosing your own way forward.